Oh boy. Shoot. Welcome to Please Bear With Me. My name is Scotty Swingler. I was in the stadium last night, as I'm sure were many of you. I thought last night felt like some kind of narcotics assisted fever dream. If you had told me prior to that football game, Baylor is going to hold Arizona State under 28 points and specifically hold Jordan Tyson under 50 yards, I'm thinking we win by 24. And unfortunately, in a stadium that was only 3/4 full, Baylor once again could not make the plays in the most important moments to win a football game at home. There's a lot of talk today on this Sunday, 24 hours removed. We're about 23 hours removed from kickoff. There's a lot of talk about fan culture at Baylor. And some of you might have seen, I had a clip on the Pete Souza show, hit some of you on X that said, this university, it's doing its part. Now we have to do our part. And I felt like some fans showed out to that Auburn game to see that egg. And as I left the stadium last night, I was feeling very deflated. And I think Grayson Grundhafer's tweet, props to Grayson. He's at Sikkim365. Go check out their content. You know me. I love everybody that makes Baylor content. I have no enemies here. Grayson put this up. Baylor is now 4-12 against Power 4 schools at home since the start of the 2022 season, and 1-9 in games I would classify as big games at home. And not that I didn't trust Grayson, but I wanted to go look at this for myself. And guys, when you visualize this, it is not pretty. So ever since leaving the field in New Orleans in the 2021 Sugar Bowl, running Ole Miss out of the building, here's what Baylor has looked like at home. Just let your eyes sit on this for a second. Baylor has beaten Kansas twice, Oklahoma State, and rival TCU once at home since that victory over Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, and has lost to all of these other Power 4 schools at home since that victory in that Sugar Bowl. Just sit with that graphic for a moment. Unacceptable is the first comment I just saw. Absolutely. Iron Reaper comments, the worst part is I don't think I care anymore. I think that is a general feeling going around. And by the way, you know what is not included on this graphic of home wins and losses? This one. This one. The worst one. Texas State's first ever victory over a Power 4 school ever to open the 2023 season. So I'm feeling deflated. Maybe you're feeling deflated. And at this point, there's a pattern. And I am a fan who likes to get up on other fans and say, hey, you show up, you cheer loud, win, lose, or draw. Listen, I grew up in the 90s, y'all. We had season tickets in 1999. I was 7 years old. Do you know what those Baylor teams looked like? I lived it. That's what I grew up on. So losing Baylor teams, I will show up and I will cheer. But I don't blame anyone who, after 3 years of this crap, has found it a little difficult to not be apathetic. And there's going to be a lot of talk. Again, this happened last year. It happened in 2023. We're going to keep doing this every season, it seems, about Dave Aranda. And I will, again, defer to one of my brothers who works for another media group. So we shouted out Grayson from Sikkim 365. Let me shout out my friend Matt Isbear from the Oso Media Group, formerly the Our Daily Bears crew. Great people. Matt, Pope, Fank, Mark Moore, all those guys. Matt Isbear, I think, had the tweet of the night last night. He said, "I'm not upset about this loss in a vacuum, but it's the same thing now, a trend for multiple years. Players make some plays out of sheer heroics to keep it close. And listen, we saw that again last night. But either coaching decisions hold us back or players aren't put in positions to succeed." He followed that up with, "It makes me sad, not angry. I love the theoretical approach by the staff. I love it, but it's not a board game. It's hand-to-hand combat, dancing, and irrational confidence combined with a ball. It's not a thought exercise." Matt Isbear, I think that's on the money, dude. I think that's on the money. What happens if Baylor takes a field goal early in that game instead of going for it on a fourth and converting the red zone? What happens if we have one less turnover? Take away the interception or one fumble. Like, what happens? What happens if we don't get multiple 15-yard penalties? What happens if that secondary, which played outstanding football most of the night, doesn't give up one big throw on 3rd and 12 up the seam? Football is a game of inches, and you win or you lose on every play. And I'm going to put this graphic up one more time before we run the intro and get Terrence in here. Guys, this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. If you're a Baylor fan, you have a right to feel a little crummy today. You have a right. So what do we do from here? Well, no better person than my co-host, Terrence Ganaway, to talk about it. We're going to reflect on last night's disappointing loss. Still a lot of games in front of Baylor, but the time to clean it up is past. It's go time now. And you got a big opportunity this week in Stillwater, a place I used to fear to play. But Tulsa rolled in there and got a win over the weekend, so it's Baylor's turn now. I'm going to run this intro, and then we're going to talk it up. Stay with us right here on Please Bear With Me. What's up, Baylor fans? Welcome. This is Please Bear With Me. My name's Scotty Swingler. I want to thank Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, the Falconberry family right here in Waco. If you need a renovation at your home, outdoor space, they specialize in patios, outdoor kitchens, pergolas, that kind of space you want to sit. It's fall. This is the time to sit outside and watch football on your patio. Let them renovate it for you. Or brand new bathroom. Who doesn't want a nicer master bath, right? Who doesn't want, if you've got mom or dad living with you, they're getting a little older, getting a little scary, getting them into the bathtub, let them renovate that, give you an accessible tub. They can take care of themselves. Gather & Co. My friends Kelly and the Falconberries are the people to help you out. Give them a call. Another guy who helps me out every single week, keeps me honest, keeps me on the straight and narrow in life, keeps me sane when it comes to talking Baylor football. Terrence Ganaway is with me as always. Hey, TG, what's going on, bro?
What's up, Scotty? I share similar comments and thoughts as you started us out with tonight. I'm doing well, ready to get this weekend out of our mouths. I think it's going to be at least 7 days before we see if Baylor's ready to do the same. I was down in Waco. I thought the energy was very different than what we saw in Auburn. And I know you mentioned about the excitement, the atmosphere. There was a lot of show and performance that went on to start out the season against Auburn. And my expectation is having a second playoff team, 2024 playoff team on the schedule this year in town, Big 12 opener. I imagine Baylor was going to have a very similar production. I thought the fans were going to be there. I thought we were going to show up energetic, ready to go, ready to fight. And it was lackluster all around from top to bottom. Fan experience, game day experience. And I think it resulted into a overall bad product last night. So I was at the game. It's always great to go and root for the green and gold, but man, does it make a drive back to Fort Worth very long after one of those games where we literally snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. So here we go. Let's talk about it.
Man, and you phrased it well there, Terrence. Defeat out of the jaws of victory. Baylor had every single opportunity to win this football game. I think I left that Auburn game a few weeks ago thinking, we should have won. We were a better team than we showed. But that game ended, and at the end of the night, I was like, you know what? Tonight, Auburn was the better team. They were. Terrence, outside of 3 turnovers, which, by the way, that's the difference in the game. Cam Stewart said it last night on Locked On Baylor, too. Give a shout out to another guy in another space, right? He said 3-0 turnovers. That's it. The end, right? And he's right. Outside of that, in every facet, I thought Baylor looked like a better football team. Arizona State's offense, which I was a little concerned about, couldn't move the ball against our defense for most of the night. They were stifled in the red zone at least 3 times. Those 3 turnovers only resulted in 9 points for Arizona State. I can't give our defense enough credit for the improvement from the first 3 weeks to last night. I mean, really, really took a big step, I thought. I thought offensive line for Baylor looked better than they've looked all season. Got a little push. Still probably not like what I want to see, but certainly an improvement from the 3 weeks prior. Opening some lanes. Bryson hit a couple big runs. Bro, Baylor is the better football team this season than Arizona State. I left last night feeling concretely like that. But you turn the ball over 3 times and you forget how to play offense. And I might let you break down what you saw there. In my opinion, you didn't hand the ball off to Bryson Washington enough, particularly early. And I don't know how you don't take any deep shots against a banged-up secondary. It looked like we were playing timid, scared, throwing short routes, easy, and not even executing that very well, man. So I was very, very frustrated by what I saw, bro, because I think Baylor is a better football team. But all that I think I saw, it doesn't matter when you take the L. Doesn't matter.
It does not matter at all. And the only thing that matters is how you perform on the field. And we did not perform great yesterday. I think both offensive coordinators are going to look at this film and say they left a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, they threw some dang good steaks in the trash, and they're going to have to dig it out, and they're going to have to figure out how to be a better, more efficient offense moving forward for both programs. I thought that Sam Levitt left some big throws, some big opportunities on the field. Their receivers and running backs helped our defense out tremendously by not getting the field on certain plays. And, I mean, we are a flag away from having a 4th down stop to win the game.
Yep.
And then you look at it from our perspective, Baylor's perspective, our offense – man, did not look sharp at all. We were behind receivers. We were late to receivers. We were not running crisp, clean routes. And it showed. We had a pick, and that pick late in the game, that DB, I mean, he made it look like that ball was to him the entire time. And I love I love Josh Cameron. He fights hard. him and Trigg are, guys that I feel like if you give them the ball and they have to go 3 or 4 yards to carry the whole defense to get a first down, they will do it.
Yep.
Also know as a running back, those are the most vulnerable times when everyone's poking and pushing at the ball. And I can only imagine how Josh Cameron feels. He's not a guy that likes making mistakes. He's definitely never going to make another two mistake game in his career at Baylor.
Correct.
I give him grace there.
Correct.
Because we still played well enough to win. And outside of, you go this way, you go that way, no one goes anywhere, and leaving a guy wide open. If that ball is on the money, it's a touchdown. It was late. Sam was late to it down the middle and underthrew him. If it's on the money, he catches in the stride. We never get a chance to. I mean, maybe that's what we should have did so we can go back down and score because our offense was moving better in the second half. I thought the best throw of the night by any quarterback was the throw late in the fourth quarter to Michael Trigg across the middle. Trigg kind of runs a set concept right over the middle of the field in a zone, sees that Sawyer still has the ball, kind of shakes, wiggles the defender, middle linebacker, and the ball is right behind the middle linebacker, right in front of the safety. Trigg breaks a couple of arm tackles, and we got ourselves a game. And Dave Aranda, defensive coordinator in year 6, has a chance to go win it. And to Mattis Barrett's point, to your point, it is more the same. And that's what's so frustrating when you wake up today. Neither team played well enough to win.
Right.
Baylor definitely lost the game last night.
Absolutely.
We should be sitting 1-0 in Big 12 play with a very favorable schedule ahead of us.
Right. Right. Well, and again, we've had more people join us live. Thanks for joining us. If you're on X, why don't you go over to YouTube if you don't mind? Please bear with me. Hit subscribe. That helps us out. But I had this up at the beginning. If you feel exhausted today, I'm not telling you what to do with that exhaustion, but I'm telling you it's valid. Your exhaustion is valid because this is what home games have looked like since that Sugar Bowl victory in 2021. Since then, this is how Baylor has performed in home games, which I've seen other comments coming in here, even as we're talking, Terrence, about the atmosphere kind of sucking at McLean last night. I get it. I was there. I was cheering loud. So I'm with you. If you say more people need to show up and cheer loud, I'm with you. But I understand why people are apathetic and tired. I really get it. I really get it, man. Because this sucks. It sucks. It's not fun. Dang, bro, you said something, man. I think I feel horrible because I think some of these guys, bro, I think they've got the right mindset. Like, I guarantee you, Josh Cameron is putting this loss on himself, and he shouldn't, but he is because that's
what leaders do.
That's right. Exactly right.
You want him to come in the locker room this week and say, guys, it will never be on me again.
Exactly right. Exactly right. He's doing that.
Yeah.
Sawyer's doing that. I mean, these Terrence, like, I don't want to emphasize this, and we're gonna turn this around in a few minutes and talk about how we can turn this season around. But I love these players, man. Like, when I'm talking critical, I hate losing. You hate losing. We hate Baylor losing. We want Baylor to win the Big 12 every year. Like, that is our desire. But I love these players, man. I love how Sawyer plays. He's beating himself up today for a pick and some missed throws. I love Josh Cameron. I want Josh Cameron to play 10 years in the NFL. I think he can do it. Man, he's hurting today. I love Keaton Thomas. I love Kendrick Simpkins. Dude, I pulled up this kid's name before we went live. Number 18, the cornerback, Calger Williford. Balled out last night, bro. He played like a beast. And I'm like, I don't even know who this kid is. Tennessee Tech transfer. Thrust into the line of duty at corner last night. Had a great game. Played very well on the outside. So I hope folks know, man, my heart when I'm grumbling, it may come across like I'm grumbling and I'm angry and I'm frustrated. I am, but it's because I want these kids to experience the highs that we've experienced with Baylor football. Baylor football ain't like this. This is not a program. Who's a good comparison? Like, think about Iowa State. This isn't like Iowa State's been a really consistently good program the last few years. They've still never won the conference. They've never won the conference. That is not who Baylor is. Baylor has won the Big 12 3 times and been right in the thick of it 2 or 3 other times. And I want these kids to experience that because I cheer for them and because I think they're good. Like, so it just drives me nuts, bro. And so my tendency, and I'll vent this, and then we can get off this topic if we don't want to do it, because I feel like it's going to become the weekly thing until Baylor wins. Here, I saw a good comment earlier. By the way, keep the comments coming. Tons of comments coming. I love it. But I'm looking for the one I saw. Here it is a few minutes ago. Aranda is a passive guy, and this team, whether it's players or coaches or play callers, have taken on that same passive mindset. Where is the killer instinct? Right, wrong, or half true? Terrence, that sentiment echoes everywhere I look from Baylor fans today. And I was talking to my dad this morning. He said, the only coach I ever remember that could kind of be passive like that on the sideline and win at a high rate was Tom Landry. And it was a different kind of intensity, than Dave Aranda. But he said, Tom Landry would just stand on the sideline with his arms crossed and show no emotion, wouldn't get animated. But he coached his teams to get out there and execute and win. And I'm frustrated that every week something doesn't execute. It would figure that the week our defense improves, we improved on pursuit, we improved on the line, we improved on all of that secondary. The offense forgets how to move the ball.
Yeah, we were not in sync yesterday. Fans, us that are listening to this podcast and chiming in, or even Scotty and I, we are fans, regardless of how much money we pay Baylor or still owe them. We are fans. And Dave Aranda and his staff have a big job. They're getting paid a lot of money to do well in their big job. But fans in Baylor football have a very bad relationship right now. And the reason why the fan experience and the player experience is so different is because of expectations. I just talked to my friends this week about relationships. When me and my wife are not in sync, it's because we have misaligned expectations. So as a fans, we have this hope that our wife is going to come home, make a steak dinner, and we're about to eat all types of sides, maybe have a glass of wine, maybe even get lucky. But instead, we come home and we're eating leftover cheese quesadillas from Chipotle. That is not good. It's not fresh. The guac is turning brown. And then on top of that, we have to sleep on the couch. I'm frustrated. I'm starting looking at another house before the week is gone. The week is out. I don't know how you can consistently talk to recruits and players and get them excited about being a part of Baylor if after you score and kick a field goal to tie it, the entire sideline don't go bananas. We had Jump Around. We've been playing that song for over a decade now. And we know what it looks like in different eras, coaching eras, the Art Browse era. I mean, we even played it with Groves. And then obviously Matt Rule. There's one thing I think as a defensive coordinator, I could care less. It was not a complex route combination offensive scheme that beat a cover two.
Right.
Everybody knows what cover two is. Deep high safety, don't let anybody behind you. And there was only one guy running down the middle of the field. It didn't look like we were in Tampa 2, so we didn't have anybody drop under it. And so if you got two guys in cover two and no one else is running deep, where are the eyes? Are we looking at the inside receiver? Are we looking at the third receiver? Are we looking in the backfield? Safety playing 40 yards down the field, looking in the backfield? That's not, yes, it is on the players. That is a coaching, that's negligence at its finest. It just doesn't happen. In the NFL, you get fired. You're cleaning out your locker room by the time you get back to the locker room. It is no way we got Devin Bobby, we got Redding back there. It is no way we miss that coverage. I mean, it's third and long. Like you gotta be back deep.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? And so, I think through this, and I just feel like Baylor wants us to give them something and not reciprocate or return the favor. You want me to pay rent? You want me to take out the trash, put gas in your car, and I'm eating leftover Chipotle quesadillas? I don't even get a burrito? Of course, you're going to have 75% of the fans sitting down on third down. It's not exciting. There's no hope. I mean, even Phil Bennett's days, like Mike Hicks come out of nowhere and get a pick. Like there's something that happens.
China Spring.
And Phil Bennett, he's not known to be, and no knock against Phil Bennett. We talked about him last week. I love him. He's great for radio and TV. But what we saw this weekend is not a lot of people that believe that we could win. And I think that started on the sideline. That wasn't us. Yes, fan experience, yes, it needs to change. Floyd Casey was, horrible even when we had Robert Griffin some of those years. But you start winning and you do things that make it fun. I mean, I don't know if yesterday was an official blackout, but everybody's wearing 3 different colors. Penn State in whiteout, they're all white. I don't like the team 90 minutes away from us. But when they go to games, they're maroon and white. And they're all in synchronized swimming formation, sawing back and forth. You got to create that if you're Baylor. But it starts on the field. You can't have a bad product and expect us to keep coming and paying rent, mortgage with 7% interest. Interest rates too high.
Yeah.
Maybe when the mortgage rates come down a little bit, we'll pay a little bit more attention. But I can tell you right now, we might not have a long runway with that if we do not get it fixed. We were the better team. I do think we were the better team this Saturday. I know we are the better team going into this next game.
Yeah.
You think about fan experience. You drop one in Oklahoma State, you don't have to worry about fan experience. You need to be worried about recruiting experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then everybody's going to be telling them, hey, do you really want to go to Baylor? You think they're going to be there next year? Why even take a trip?
Yeah.
As an athlete, we got to demand more. And so I hope Josh Cameron, Sawyer, Bobby, Bryson, I hope that whole team is fired up. And if you Trig, if you can't get it from your guys, you got to manufacture it. Somehow you got to give more energy than what we saw this past weekend.
Absolutely.
But it's all a microcosm of what we see every week.
Huge opportunity this week, Terrence. We talked about last week that we're in the second quarter of the season, and it's pivotal. It's pivotal to do well. Well, now you got to go 2-1 in that second quarter of the season. You have to like there was no excuse for losing last night at home to that Arizona State team. There are less than no excuses to lose this Saturday at Oklahoma State or the next home game when Kansas State comes here. Listen, this is the worst team Kansas State's had in a couple decades, potentially. Like they are not good this year, bro. And Oklahoma State has not been this bad since maybe before Gundy had been the head coach for a couple years. It's bad. Baylor has to take advantage. Has to. And we talked before the Samford game, or at least I don't remember if you and I had talked about this, or maybe Pete and I talked about this, that Samford was an opportunity to build some confidence going into conference play. And instead they played kind of sloppy. And I think we saw some of that carry over into that game against Arizona State, especially offensively. So I say it again, dude, go to Stillwater, a place which has historically been awful for Baylor. Stillwater historically is a place we do not want to play. Go in there, beat this really bad Oklahoma State team by 40 and do it with some energy and some effort and some creativity and some fun. I want the guys on the sideline to look like they want to freaking be there and they're having a good time, right? And then come back home against Kansas State with some enthusiasm. I mean, you have to. I just like you have to. Like this could be, we could run Gundy out of the building permanently if we go win that game by 60, by 50.
I like Gundy. I
like Gundy too. Did you see my tweet?
I would love. No, I didn't. I don't think I did.
I sent out. By the way, don't take any fans of the podcast. Do not take my cynical tweets less than an hour after the game concludes as my honest opinion, because I'm emotional. But I did think this one was pretty funny. I said Baylor head coach Mike Gundy, Baylor GM Seth Russell. Let's go. Because Gundy obviously can't handle the NIL and the portal. So you pass that to a guy like Seth Russell, who could probably be very good at it. He's a financial guy. Let him run that, and then let Gundy just do the football stuff. So I like Gundy too, is my point. But continue your thought.
On that thought, I think the coaches that are done really well with the portal, they fully embrace NIL, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think Gundy is kind of still on the fence. Another coach that's still on the fence about NIL is Dabo Swinney. You can see how he coaches and how his team is now. I know he wasn't a big proponent of it when it first happened. And it just feels like there's a disconnect. One of the things I want to talk about is we hear people all the time, and so many people post under, handles that you don't know who they are. They may be burner accounts for all we know, but they always say the team feels a lot closer. They're more confident. They're better. What are we missing?
Yeah.
You can't always feel this way. Jenny and I went through marriage counsel, and they said, "How's your marriage?" And I said 8. It's like, it's not a 10. I was like, no, there's always room to work. Jenny's like, oh, it's a 10. I'm like, well, I mean, maybe for her it is, but it's 8 for me. I need to work. And it's like, how committed are you? And I think commitment is binary. You either committed or you're not. So commitment is a 10. And Jenny's commitment is a 10 as well. But we went back and forth with this, and I'm trying to figure out, how's the marriage in the locker room? Listen, this is racy, and I'm almost tempted not to say anything because I think some of the coaches respect me. I know some of the fans respect me because I'm a former player. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but what is the temperature in the locker room? What is the commitment level? Are we 100% all in? And if we're not, let's get the players out of the locker room that isn't. And let's chalk it up to like, hey, we got to rebuild this and blow it all up. But I only want people in Waco, Texas that want to be in Waco, Texas. Truly.
Preach it, bro. Yep.
Truly.
Yep.
And if you don't want to be there, that's fine. Like, there's places to go play college ball, and you don't have to don the green and gold. That is perfectly fine with me. But I got to figure out, what are we missing if they're so close, but we've never seen it? We haven't seen a fully put together game in the last 3 years. I mean, when we won
at Texas Tech last year, I think is the one exception that offense, defense, special teams
play well
out.
Yes. I don't know what Joey was talking about. It was personal, no regrets, and all that stuff. That's the only thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, let's hire Joey." And like, Joey kind of, he was lower on my list after that game because I thought it was a lot more personal. And then Texas Tech later, obviously Baylor went out on a 6-0 run. My thought here, Scotty, is that there's something we're missing. And I don't know if we are intuitive enough to figure it out. I don't know if we really want to figure it out. But we have to be more intentional with looking in the mirror, because there is nothing. I don't care what you say. You talk about fan experience, go to Oklahoma State. The fan experience is not going to be on your favor. Good teams win on the road. I think we're a good team. We beat SMU on the road. Hey, it's time to go do it again. If we drop this one, the wheels will come off. You don't have to worry about anything else. And we could go finish the season 6-0, 7-0 to finish out the season. I would tell you then, we'll be back here next year with the same mantra like, hey, crap or get off the pot. And I think most people are waiting in line and saying, like, let's just get them off the pot. And I don't want that because I think there's great people in Waco. Nothing against the people, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting angry, yeah, it sucks to lose at home. Those I hate the post game pressers. I want a guy that's ready to fight. I want a guy like Jim Kelly, not Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly is former UCLA, but Kelly from LSU. I can't even think of his first name. Brian Kelly. Like, why would you ever ask that question? That's what I want Dave Aranda to say. Do you like losing? Why would you ever ask the question, do I like losing? Do I look like a loser? I mean, that's a question you probably don't want to ask back. But I want fire energy. And it doesn't have to be that all the time. But if you don't get that, I need.
And I want to clarify something based on that comment, because Scotty B comments something I've heard a lot of people say. Not everyone is like Matt Rule in terms of personality. You're right, Scotty B. And here's the problem. All of us like Dave Aranda. All of us like him as a human, as a person, as a DC. Like, all of us like and believe in Dave Aranda, the football mind, the person, the culture fit. I hear everybody, all of that. I'm with you, actually. Like, I'm with you. I'm going to just do it again. Mm-hmm. When your last 2.5 seasons at home looks like this, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't like, the problem is not Dave Aranda's personality. The problem is this is the experience at McLean Stadium since Baylor won a Sugar Bowl. And the coach seems lackadaisical about it. I know he's not. Listen, I know Dave Aranda's pissed. I know he's desperate to win. I have no doubt the guy is right now at the facility trying to find something, trying to scheme something, having a conversation. I know he is working his butt off. But the reason there are questions about his demeanor or his personality or his fire or his ability to lead young men to victory is because there's consistently a lack of victory, particularly at home for whatever reason, when Baylor's talent level appears to be at or greater than most of these opponents. Auburn, I'll give you Auburn. Auburn had us whooped up front, okay? Mm-hmm. That Arizona State team last night did not have more talent or depth than the current Baylor team. They do not. And if I threw up this graphic again, most of these teams, think about that overtime loss to Houston a couple years ago. Think about losing at home to Oklahoma State. Think about losing to West Virginia at home. Think about losing to BYU at home. Those teams did not have more talent than Baylor. They do not. They do not. So,
Scotty, what's your thoughts on this? I was thinking about this last night, and I just want to put it in the ether. But the personality of the AD and the head coach, I think it's pretty similar.
You think their personalities are similar?
Yeah.
I don't. And I don't know Mac. Maybe you've interacted with Mac a little bit. Mac strikes me as fiery. I mean, I remember particularly him getting fined after that ridiculous basketball game for criticizing officials.
Is that a little bit of Scott Drew? Taking up for Scott Drew?
Well, sure, but my Mac is a guy who's going to say what he thinks, and Mac's a guy who I think Mac strikes me as a more conventional athletic director. I'll just say that. Like, I think he's, and I like Mac Rhodes. And I think he does a good job. But Aranda's just, I don't know, man. They say you take on the personality of your leader, right? You take on, and That's why there's questions, Scotty B. Everybody else who likes Dave or says, well, Dave's going to get to coach here a long time. The question is, why does Baylor appear to have talent to compete and yet find themselves unable to win football games or straining to win football games they should win? And the question is then, the follow-up question is, well, is it because the team is taking on the personality of the coach, which is to overthink, to not get passionate, to not get excited, and to shrug after a game? The thing that drove me crazy, I tweeted about this, was the care factor's there. The care factor. I don't give a rip about the care factor. They don't look like they care. They're standing on the sideline, mute, deaf, and crippled, not even moving around. Like, they don't, and I know they do. That's the thing, Terrence. I know they care. I know Josh Cameron cares. I see it in the play. I know Kendrick Simpkin cares. I know Jacob Redding cares. Like, I know they do. I know they do. But I don't, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't feel like it.
Listen,
you got me back on the box, man.
Everyone thinks like that. It's rapid reaction. We're all in the same boat. We're frustrated. For people that say we're never going to get rid of Dave Aranda, that's fine. That's fine. But again, you can't make me come home with interest rates as high as they are and make me eat a cheese quesadilla. Like, it's just not going to happen. We don't get rid of him. I don't want to get rid of him per se.
Yeah, I want him to win.
I want him to win. I want him to do what we hired him to do. I want him to have the top 3 defense in our league every single year. Yes. I could care less. We could go back to Grimes' offense. I could care less. I just want you to be hired and brought in to do what you were tasked to do. And so that's my expectation, misaligned expectation. My expectation is go win a freaking game as a 6-year defense coordinator with all your guys on the roster. And if we can't get 2 safeties to understand the concept of cover 2, then you can't make me like it. You can't get upset and say Baylor has the worst fans in the Big 12. You can't get upset and say we don't have any crowd factor in the Big 12. You can't say that we don't get excited for third downs when you got to win a game and you do not win a game. It's not our fault. So I cannot, in good conscience, come home, stick my key in the door and come in and be all happy. It stinks. Let's open some windows. Let's turn on some fans. Let's move some furniture out. I don't want to be in an environment like that. It is sickening. And some people live in Waco. Some people drove from Houston. Some people drove further than that just to watch Baylor play in the Big 12 opener, and the product was bad. You want to change experience? Change expectations of your university's football team. Alabama does not have a problem. Baylor, our alumni scattered all over and a lot of them don't even care about football anyways. So we got a lot of people in Waco that didn't go to Baylor. They just love Baylor and they come over to the games. We don't have Ohio State, Michigan, alumni, Texas, Oklahoma, where we can play La Tech. We can play Sanford and have a packed house. This was the game you have a packed house. This was the environment where you show maybe Auburn, we didn't play our best. But no, you know when we didn't play our best? We didn't play our best against Auburn for 4 quarters. We didn't play our best against all these teams on this list. We didn't play our best against SMU for half, 3 quarters actually against SMU. And we didn't play our best against Sanford. I mean, Sanford's a turnover away from tying it up 14-14. Who knows what happens with the energy and the level of excitement around the program. And then yesterday, we sputtered on offense. Sawyer Robbins, the best quarterback in. We got the best running back in the Big 12. Use him. We got a quarterback that could have got a first down on an obvious 3rd down. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even take off running. Then we hear last night that coaches are not hey, bro, What are you protecting yourself for? Lamar Jackson is a better thrower because he runs the ball. When the Eagles were down today, Jalen Hurts threw the ball and he still ran. Josh Allen is a better thrower when he runs. Patrick Mahomes is a better thrower when he runs. Open up the playbook, man. Keep a defense honest.
Yeah.
I mean, take pressure off your left tackle or right tackle when you got a quarterback that can move the pocket, that can run, and let him run. Do a design run. Sawyer needs to go from 0 rush attempts to 10 a game.
8 to 10, yep.
And
Yep.
if we get hurt, the season's a loss anyways. If we handicap him, I mean, he's playing football with an arm tied around his back. Like, you can't play like that. Let him go so he can play free. But, you know, everybody in this comment, Scotty B, everybody's going back and forth. If Aranda's here and we don't get better, you can't expect us to come home with these interest rates.
Man, you are the king of the metaphor tonight, Terrence. Man, let me ask you this. This is how we can kind of get ready to wrap up tonight. And everybody who watches us, listens to us here on Please Bear With Me. By the way, thank you so much. Subscribe on YouTube. It helps. They know you pretty well. You're pretty transparent with how you feel. But put yourself in that locker room today, a day removed. Let's say you're one of those players in there today. You're 2-2. The fan experience last night was bad. Like, I don't know if that affects certain guys or not, but it was poor. You let another game slip away that you're probably kicking yourself and thinking of 7 opportunities you had to go win it, and you didn't. What is your mentality right now, getting ready to prepare for this week's trip to Stillwater?
If I'm in the if I'm a player or a coach at Baylor University, this is exactly what I do. I level set expectations, and I go right back to fundamentals. My son Zayd is 11 years old. He'll play 5th and 6th grade basketball this year. I'll coach him. We've been going to the gym, and I said, we got 2 months until basketball season starts. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? He said, I want to shoot 20,000 shots from here to November the 20th. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to get there? So we walk back, how many shots he needed to shoot, how many dribble programs he needed to go through, routines every day. What does that look like? And I said, hey, bro, you're still a kid. You're 11. Like, I don't need you at the gym every day. So let's be realistic. Like, let's level set our expectations about what we want to do. Yeah, we'll be better because I will go there, we'll push you, and we'll make sure you get the reps you need. But let's also level set expectations. So if I'm in the locker room as a head coach, not as a head coach, I don't think I'm qualified to even put myself in that thought process. But if I'm one of the coaches and I'm a player in the locker room, this is what I say. What do we need to do to win football games? We need to know exactly what the offense or defense, our opponent, is doing at any given time in the game. We need to line up and be in the exact place we need to be in, and then we need to make plays. So what has to happen? Expectations. We will be a good tackling team. We will run the ball 20 times a game, unless game just gets out of hand. But we're going to run the ball 20 times a game. Bryson Washington, you're going to get 20 carries. Not touches, not throwing the ball out to you in the flats. You're going to get 20 carries. We're going to ride you until you cannot go anymore. And we're going to run the ball from the quarterback position. We're going to have design plays where Bryson gets flexed out, Caden Knight can get flexed out, and we're going to keep a defense honest. They're dropping back and having a defensive tackle or defensive end spy Sawyer. In what world do we think that's a win for the defense? We're going to beat that guy every single down. So what do we have to do to make some of that a reality? I remember my senior year at Baylor, every day during camp, I would say, win the day. It's not something that I invented, something I even created. It's everyone says that. But I took it on as a mantra that, like, hey, let's win the day. I remember running through the hole and hitting Elliott Coffee, and he's like, bro, like, we're just at practice. And I'm like, I got to get my reps. Like, if I want to do certain things, the standard is the standard. So the standard has to become the standard at Baylor University again. And you start by doing very basic, fundamental stuff. In year 6, you cannot have 2 safety miss cover 2. You cannot have a guy who Arizona State, I think he was down early. I don't think he got the first down. But you can't have the undisciplined nature of diving at a guy that's already fallen down and getting a 15-yard penalty when the game is back in your hands. So you can say you want to. I need you to show me that you want to be here. I can tell my wife all the time if I love her, but if I don't ever show her I love her, like, listen, I'm not in the best shape of my life. There's some handsome guys out there, you being one of them, Scotty. Shoot, I would hate to lose Jenny to you. We might be fighting. I know Fran Brown is about that life, but
I would also hate that, for the record.
So to bring it back into focus, Baylor has to do fundamentally sound things. My son goes in the gym. I tell him, and we'll be done with my analogies, but I tell my son every single day, the best of the best at what they do the basics better than anyone else.
That's right.
LeBron James, Steph Curry does the basics. His feet are underneath him. His elbow is up. His arm is cocked. He sees the rim. He releases. It's the same thing every single time.
Yes.
Being great is monotonous. It is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. It is not flash. And so let's turn off Instagram. Let's turn off TikTok, Snapchat, whatever we are doing to promote recruits, and tell them, like, we're an Alabama-style team. It's going to be ugly. We're going to run to the ball, and we're going to hit, and we're going to tackle to the ground. We're going to run the ball on offense. We're going to throw the ball to receivers, and we're going to catch it, and we're going to make plays. The game of football will be here 1,000 years after you and I are gone, and it'll be played the exact same way. Let's don't create or reinvent anything. It's not broken. Just learn how to do it better. Do the basics better. And that would be my expectation as a coach. And if I was just a player, I would make sure I did my part to let the team in the locker room as a senior know that it would never be my fault if it came down to it. It's a tough environment, man. We lost against Kansas State my senior year, and that loss, we dropped three out of 4 right there in the middle of the season. Then we went on our run and we finished the season on a high note, winning 10 games for the first time in a long time at Baylor.
Yeah.
But when you lose a game that you feel like you should have won, we should have beat Kansas State in 2011. There's no doubt. Robert gets hit late in the game, throws a pick, and like, we should have won that game. And if you don't have the right leadership from the coaching perspective and the player perspective, you can walk into Oklahoma State and Stillwater this weekend and do the exact same thing and have a team beat you twice in one season, which is never good from a coaching perspective.
I'll share an analogy of my own that I'm taking from Blake Blackmore, and then we'll get out of here. Blake was telling me a story, and I won't share all the elements of the story because they're his to share. But in 2018, Baylor went into the final week of the season 5-6. They needed to win their final game to get bowl eligible, and it was at was that at Texas Tech or at AT&T Stadium? Still at AT&T Stadium against Texas Tech, who was also 5-6 and trying to get bowl eligible. Isn't that crazy? And Blake Blackmore told me, he said, Scotty, we didn't have an identity on offense. We were running some leftover Bryles concepts to try to sling the ball around the field. We were running some Matt Rule, NFL, power I formation, tough guy football, and they weren't gelling, and it wasn't blending, and everybody on the offensive line was kind of overwhelmed. George DeLeon had just had surgery, so he and Sean Bell were both kind of coaching the O-line. He said it was a mess. He said, so me and Pat what was that guy's last name? The guard, the tackle, Pat.
Colbert?
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, me and Pat walked into Matt Rule's office and said, hey, coach, this is the week before the last game against Texas Tech. Both teams are 5-6. Hey, coach, let's just run 4 plays. Let's run 4 inside run concepts. Give us 4. And we will do those 4 better than anything. And Blake said, Matt Rule looked back at him and said, this week at practice is going to suck if we do that. And Blake said, yep. And then Blake told me, as he's telling the story, he said, I didn't know how bad it was going to suck because it did. He said, but you know what we did against Texas Tech? We came out, we ran those 4 plays. We did it better than anybody. I'm looking at the stats right now. John Lovett had 125 yards and a touchdown in that game. And we beat Texas Tech, and then we went on to beat Vanderbilt in the bowl game. By the way, that momentum is what carried Baylor into 11-2 the next season. So to Terrence's point, I don't know what it takes for Baylor. Terrence knows a lot more football in his sleep than I know. He's lived it. But do the little things right. Simplify it. Make it easy. Hit somebody. Tackle somebody. Beat your man off the line. Run the route. Run the right route. There's questions on that interception. Was it Sawyer? Was it Josh? I don't care. Throw the right pass and run the right route. If everyone does the little thing right, this team is talented, Terrence. That's why, I have a persistent optimist within me. He is always in there. Even when I come on this podcast for an hour and talk how frustrated I am a persistent optimist. I believe in my bones this team could win the next 8. I believe that. I do believe it. But they have to go do it. They have to go do it. And the talent and the hope and the ambition and the preseason hype and the non-conference Heisman hype, all that stuff is crap. You have to go execute the little things right. And by the way, I'll say it again. You have an opportunity this week against the worst Oklahoma State team in 2 decades to go on the road, to win by a big margin, to execute right before you're back at home. And I don't think a win at home over Kansas State in 2 weeks would fix all of these questions or bring all the fans back, but dang, it would feel good. It would feel good for me to add Kansas State to the top of this graphic, Terrence. It would feel a lot better than what it looks like right now. So I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for him. We'll have Green and Gold Game Day Saturday. Kickoffs at 2:30. So Green and Gold Game Day for road games is 2 hours. We'll be on live YouTube at 12:30, just after lunchtime. Saturday, if you want to come hang out on Green and Gold Game Day, subscribe to Green and Gold Game Day on YouTube. Gather and Co. Kitchen and Bath are your people here in Central Texas. If you want to do a little house renovation, give them a call first. Tell them Scotty and Terrence over at Rogue Media sent you. That'll help me out too. That would get me some major love over here. Any final words from you, Metaphor Man, Mr. Shakespeare, this evening?
No, I just think do the basics better.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to put a sign up in a locker room that everyone knows we're all on the same sheet of music, it's just basics. Form tackle, get people to the ground, throw the ball, set your feet, let it ride. And what I would love to see this weekend is Sawyer to let it rip.
Yeah.
I if it's him or maybe an agent that's whispering in his ear, you got NFL potential, you can't get hurt. I don't know what it is. But I want him to throw deep passes. Our receivers are past people. That's why a couple of those PIs happened last week. He's throwing back shoulder fades, and we got upfield leverage. Just throw it out of bounds on the top shoulder, and we're going to catch those balls. I trust our receivers.
Josh and Ashton are going to bring those down 9 times out of 10. Yeah.
So let's just rip it off, man. Take the governor off of Sawyer and let him play ball. Defense, we got to be better from a schematic standpoint and a situational awareness. We got to do better there. But I want us to win this game against Oklahoma State because I'm tired of talking about this. I know you're tired of talking about this. We want to talk about the positives, and the trend line isn't positive. And so we need to do better. Baylor needs to do better, and we're going to root them on regardless.
That's right. That's right. I'm sincerely, I do not want the rest of this 2025 season and this 2025 edition of Please Bear With Me to be Dave Aranda hot seat watch. I don't want that. I want it to be, can Baylor win the Big 12? And it's still in front of you. It was all in front of you last week. It's not all in front of you now, but it is still in front of you. There is not two teams in the Big 12 that are going to get through conference undefeated. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So Baylor, go undefeated from here on out, and you're right there. You're right where you want to be. But it starts Saturday in Stillwater, and it's a great opportunity, man. Great opportunity to gain some confidence, do some things right, put it on tape. So, all right, man. You're the best. Appreciate you. Everybody for watching. Thank you. If you're on X, make sure to go over to YouTube. Please bear with me. Like and subscribe. It does help. I know you hear that every time you turn on content. It does help. Please subscribe. Get involved. Send me a DM if you want to chat it up. Talk Baylor football. That's why we do it. We love it. Thanks for all the commenters tonight. The live chat. It was tremendous. Really appreciate you. Thanks to Gather & Co. Thanks to Rogue Media. Thanks to Terrence Ganaway, my guy. We will see you at this time, 5 o'clock next Sunday night. Hopefully feeling a lot better after a win in Stillwater. Sick 'em Bears.
Sick 'em.